Good morning, and thank you for joining me today. I am live today on 12radio.com, where we are changing the way you listen to this world. You are listening to Sounds Like Lisa. This is a live show. Very exciting. I am finally back here able to do my show. I've been gone for 2 weeks, and so it's been a whirlwind, actually. A lot has happened in 2 weeks, so I'm happy to be able to be back on the air. I've had a lot of questions as, where am I, Lisa? Right here. I'm here again, and I'm joining you both with Facebook and also, like I said, on the 12 radio station. This is Sounds Like Lisa. So if you have any questions or you want to ask me anything, feel free to join me on the Facebook chat or on the live chat on 12radio.com. So I'm going to be able to see. Oh, good. I can definitely see Tiffany just showed up, and I see that there are people that are popping on right now, so this is great. So I know everything is working. This is great. Yeah, it's been an amazingly long couple of weeks that I've been gone. I'm wondering how everybody's doing. So for those of you who have never listened before, this show is a live show. I do the tarot on this show, and I look at the weekly forecast and answer questions. If you ever want to have a question with me, feel free to put it in my chat room. I'm excited to be able to share my gifts with you live like I do each week on Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 12 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you're following me now, it's good to see everybody. This last 2 weeks has been incredibly, it was so long this past 2 weeks. It feels like I've been gone a month. What happened was I went up to North Dakota the first week that I was going to North Dakota to go take my daughter back to college. She had left college due to COVID, and we ended up transferring her to be near me here in Colorado. And since COVID, since March of 2020, I guess, her stuff was stuck in a door and put it in storage, but she never went back. She was doing for a semester to college remotely, and then we did transfer her here. So it was time to go get her stuff. From where I'm living, it's a 12-hour drive. Took a wonderful 12-hour drive to North Dakota, and it was beautiful. It was long. It was very surreal, because once we hit, so we went from Colorado north, and once we hit like South Dakota, nobody was wearing masks anymore. It was like it was before masks, and so we were walking around and looking around. Not even the tourists had masks on, and I felt like I was in a different country or a different land or a different space. I felt guilty not wearing a mask almost. It was really surreal. But you could tell the people who were from out of town because nobody was wearing masks, and they have gotten back to normal kind of in this like small town where it was like before we had COVID. Over some people wore masks. I think some of the servers wore masks at the restaurants and stuff, but for the most part, there wasn't much mask wearing, and especially not in South Dakota. When we stopped for the night in Sturgis and in Deadwood, South Dakota, it was really bizarre not to see anybody with masks on. I felt very displaced in a sense. I felt time in a sense, and it was a long journey. And while I was there, my guy called me and he said, my mom is in the hospital in Virginia. She's got COVID. And it was such a kind of like, just like, I don't know. I felt like it was, I forget the word that I'm looking for right now, when you're like so removed from everything. First, I'm seeing nobody with masks, and then my boyfriend's telling me that, his mom is in the hospital with COVID, and we had heard earlier that week before I left that she had COVID, and she sounded really bad. So while I was up there, I had him fly out to go see his mother in Virginia, and that meant I had to kind of rush home a little bit to make sure that the timing was okay with the dogs and whatnot. And he was able to go spend 10 days with his mom. I had this sense of urgency that he needed to go and see her. and he spent 10 days with her, and she rallied. She had been induced into a coma at first, and then she came out of the coma. She was on a respirator, and she came out. And when he left, she was almost out of ICU. That was he came back on Monday night. And I thought, well, maybe I'm wrong. This is a good thing. And then he went to work, and then the next day, he told me she died. She actually died like within 24 hours of him leaving. And it was really surreal just to have been across the nation traveling and seeing how some people are not wearing masks, and then to see my guy go back to see his mom, and it looked like she was getting better. She had rallied, and then within 24 hours she tanked and she passed away. So we've had a very crazy 2 weeks here at my house and in this residence and what's going on. And I can only say that what we've been through is a direct result of what COVID has been doing. And, we may think that COVID is over for the most part. We're getting back to normal, but there's still people dying, and it's still very real. And my heart goes out to my boyfriend and his family right now as they mourn the loss of his mother, Sue. And I just want to let everybody know that, I know we're getting back to normal, and I know people are getting vaccinated, but it really is real out there. And for those of you who say you don't know anybody who's been affected, well, now you know me. And our family's been affected. My brother had COVID a couple weeks ago on my mom's birthday, and his whole family had it, and they got better. But not everybody gets better, and it still is serious. So I really want to do my PSA, I guess, my public service announcement with, make sure you're washing your hands and wearing your mask and really taking those precautions, because even if you think this country has turned the corner and that a lot of people are vaccinated, people are still dying, and it's 2021 now. And when we don't see it, we don't think it's around, but it's definitely still hitting. So my thoughts and prayers are out to all those people who are still suffering from COVID. It's a very real thing. And for those of you who are being safe, keep staying safe, okay? Because you never know who's going to get it or how it's going to happen. But get your vaccination. I wasn't sure about the vaccination, and I'm still on the fence about the vaccination in some ways. But when I see the devastation that it's caused with my family and with others around, I'm starting to really think that this is the way to go. I don't know. I've been really mixed about it, feeling that I didn't need it, but at the same time, I don't want to go through what I just saw, some people that we care about go through. So no matter what your stance on is, just stay safe and realize that even though some of the country is opening up, a lot of the country is opening up in different ways. We just have to really take care of each other and make sure we take our own precautions, okay? So that is what has been going on for the past 2 weeks with me, and I'm glad to be back because this feels more normal. This feels like what I do every Thursday. And I've got my mess behind me, all my bills. I'm just catching up, and I haven't really been online that much. So for those of you who've been looking for me, I'm going to be online more this week, and you will be able to find me and get read from me if you're looking for reading. But for the time being, if you want to get read and you're thinking about, having some questions or something like this, you can always find me here on the 12listen.com. And right now you can see me on the chat room here, and I will be happy to be able to answer questions. Okay, Tiffany, I'm just going to read this so people can see this. I think people can see this. It says, "Hi, Lisa. I would love to, let's see, welcome back. If time allows, I would love any insight on having a bone marrow biopsy. My oncologist is leaving it up to me on scheduling soon or holding off for a couple months to revisit it. Thank you very much. Tiffany, if you can send me your birthday, that would be good. You know how I work. Anybody who has a question, I need that birthday. That would be helpful. That would be helpful for all of us, I guess. And I'm going to pull on that right now, even though I don't have your birthday. I've read you before, so I can kind of feel your vibration, Tiffany, and see what's up. But in case I don't get to it like I thought I would, let me just look at this before we go on any further, since this is a serious question, right? It is telling me, the cards that I'm pulling, Tiffany, it is telling me to take control of it. You've got the Queen of Swords, so you want to take some action here and do this more quickly than not. No, it's not going to be a really pleasurable experience for you because if you've got the Six of Cups reversed here. But you know, what I'm thinking is go ahead and get the biopsy sooner than later, because it feels like once you get the biopsy, you can let go of it. It looks like it'll be okay. Okay, I'm not telling you to put it off. I actually think hurry up and do it and just get it over with. Okay, so that's the answer to that, if you want to know. Yeah, we got a lot of things going on in the next few weeks coming up here. I'm going to look at something here while I'm talking to you guys. I think that we have to take a look at Mercury going into retrograde. I know that's coming up. I know that we are in Taurus right now. And I know that a lot of us are starting to feel the effects of certain things going on. And from what I pulled the last time I had pulled for Libra that we would have the the double card, and definitely I can say the past few weeks I've been dealing with all those things, you know, that that has to do with the double card as a Libra, you know, all the finances, all of the things that we had to get in order and everything. I'm wondering how you guys have been doing. Now, I just looked up while I'm reading right now. I just looked up to see when Mercury was going into retrograde because I've had a lot of questions. It looks like it's going from May 29th to June 22nd. So it's coming up in a few weeks. So we're in the shadow of Mercury retrograde. So for those of you who feel it a little early, you may start to be feeling it right now. Do not worry about that. This is something that, you know, happens sometimes. Some people have I don't know. Some people have more sensitivity to it than others. And I know that this is one of these things where, you know, you could start to see things happening as far as, just things coming back into your life. Like a lot of times with the Mercury retrograde, we find things that we've left undone come back to haunt us. Like if we have issues with our partner, flare-ups may happen so that we can fix them. You know, like if we fight about certain things, you may find that those things come up. Or if we've broken up with somebody and we're not quite done, that person comes back around. Mercury retrograde is one of those interesting, you know, things in astrology where people are like, oh, things break, you know, mechanical issues. And then you'll hear Mark, who is, you know, the founder of One to Listen and One to Radio. He'll tell you, you know, a lot of companies like Apple launch on the retrograde, so it's not always so bad. But it really just depends on the person and what is auspicious for you. It happens every few months, every 3 months, I think, every 3 to 4 months. You know, and so you get hit by it a few times a year. And depending on where it is and where the house it hits and, you know, what it's hitting. I mean, this is going in while if it's May 29th, it's going in while we're in Gemini. So, I mean, it's going to hit us always a little bit different, you know, and you should take a journal and kind of, this is my advice for anybody who's listening, just take a journal and write what possibly could be going on during that time, so that you can look back and go, oh, this was Mercury retrograde. I had this, and this happen, and see how it affects you, or if it doesn't affect you. I happen to know that there are quite a few of us that get affected a little earlier, like what I was talking about, that we're in the shadow period now. You might find that you have to deal with things that you've been letting go, and in that, if you're sensitive in that shadow time, you're finding that you're having to deal with it now. And so I just want you guys to know that this is something that happens sometimes for all of us, and it affects us all differently. Some people more than others, and especially during the retrograde. Some people get it like more in the beginning, and some people get it more like in later on. So all I'm just saying is try to journal when it's coming up, and when we get closer to it in the next week or so, I will be talking about how to handle Mercury retrograde and what to do with Mercury retrograde. But until then, just hang tight, and maybe journal what it comes up on this next retrograde, so you can see how the retrogrades affect you, if they affect you, and when they affect you, because it's not always the whole 3 weeks. For some people it is, and for other people it's not. So this is all I'm saying, is that this is all I'm saying, is that this is something that happens sometimes. Okay, so now that I've shuffled and babbled a little bit, I think I'm just going to go into the Lisoscopes. I know a lot of us are wondering what's coming up in the next week. So you know how I do this. I'm going to do this. If you want to ask some questions, feel free to. If you don't, that's okay too. But I also know that, we do these things because we want to know what's coming up, and this is what I do, right? Okay, so let me just get my pen and paper out, and my nifty notebook. It's been 2 weeks since I've done this, so I'm not going to look back and look and see who has what, okay? I'm starting from scratch, and we will just go from this point forward. This is going to be for this next week coming up, so I'm a little early on the game instead of a little late. Okay, so here we go. Capricorn. Capricorn, you have the Seven of Wands, Capricorn. So the Seven of Wands for Capricorn is saying that you may want to make a change, a move, or there's some action there. There's this idea, if you notice, the card is showing you that there's somebody jumping. If you can see this, if you can't, it's okay too. I'm going to just describe it. It's this guy jumping over a cliff, okay, to another cliff, and there's a big ravine or, gap down in the middle. Basically, if he doesn't make it, he's going to die. So he has to make it. Okay. And basically, this is just saying that when you get this card, Capricorn, you're basically having this idea of changes, and you're trying to figure out how to make the changes. You need to make some changes. This can be doing according to work or a move of some sort. It's going to hit you in an area of life to where you are making a determination that you're going to make the changes needed that are necessary. So this next week that is coming up, you're going to be thinking about how to make these changes for you, because they're necessary. Pay attention to what is prompting you to change, because it's going to be a focal point for the next 6 months or so. And looking at this, it's an important step for you to go from one thing to another. And as a Capricorn, just because of your nature, how you like to think and analyze things, this will be something that will be mulling and mulling and mulling over and over and over again in your head. So I just want to let you know that pay attention to what changes are needing to be made, because you will be focusing on this for the next few months and making this into reality, okay? But the time is coming for you to make those changes, so this is why you're going to be thinking about them. This is more serious than any other time has been in the past year so far, but you're getting an idea, which is really good. You're getting an idea on how to deal with this and where to go. We go to Aquarius. Aquarius, let's see what you've got. You've got the Eight of Swords. Interesting. Aquarius. Let me just show you what this looks like. So Aquarius, you've got, okay, whenever we whenever we have swords, and I've talked about this before, whenever we have swords, we know that there's action or agitation. I know you see some boobies on my thing if you guys are looking. If you're not, it's two women who are on either side of a crossroads and a guy in the middle pondering. That's basically what this card looks like, okay? So basically this is talking about being at a crossroads and not knowing which way to go, which way is better for you, Aquarius. You're going to have your emotions hit you and really cloud your judgment next week. So you're figuring out which action to take. And the thing about this Aquarius, my Aquarius friends, is that when you don't know which action to take and your emotions get the best of you, Aquarius, you tend to shut down, shut everybody else out, and kind of do nothing. That's okay. It's going to feel like this is interfering with your life. It's going to feel like you're stymied or stopped. But it does this because you are not sure what direction to go in. So next week you're going to be given a choice on which direction you should go in, and you may find that you don't know where you're going to be going, and you may find yourself pulling away from the public and kind of hiding for a little while. It's okay. Make no movement until you know what you're doing, because this isn't something where like the Capricorn, where you have to do this leap of faith. This is something to where you have to make a choice. And if you don't know what you're doing, then don't do anything at all. So expect yourself to kind of retreat next week, Aquarius, in this thought process to try to figure out what you're going to be doing as far as actions are concerned. Now, this is hitting you. It really depends on where it is in your life, how it hits you. But if you find yourself not able to make a decision, that's okay. Try to rest your emotions and think logically, and make no action until you know what you need to do. Okay, Aquarius? That's my advice for you guys for this next week. Okay, over to Pisces. We've got some interesting ones this week. Pisces, you have the oppression card, which is the 10 of Wands. Okay, so Pisces, you are another sun sign, if you are a Pisces, that takes things very emotionally. You must be feeling, as I pulled this card, first of all, it's a 10. It's the end of the cycle. And you might be feeling like you're really oppressed in a situation, like you want to get out of a situation and make changes, and you don't like the way a situation is. So you're going to be feeling frustrated about this. Frustration is a good thing, believe it or not. I know you're going, what do you mean, Lisa? But it really is a good thing, because when you're frustrated, it prompts you to change things. If you were happy with things the way they were, nothing would change. So if this makes you upset or frustrated with what's going on in your world, know that this is because you are needing to make some changes, kind of like we were looking at with the Capricorn, but it's getting to the point where you're really upset and you want to make the changes that are necessary for you. So this oppression card is making you feel like you're not happy and you're like at the end of your rope, but know that things will change, because whenever we have a 10, we know that's the very end of a cycle before something else changes and makes that next move. Just pay attention and, recognize whatever is frustrating you. And this is probably work or your situation around certain things. This is what this feels like what you're doing with your life. You're not happy. Pay attention to what is kind of egging you on and making you want to make a change, because when you figure out what that is, you'll be able to break the cycle and move forward. So this is what we want. We want to see you moving forward with the situation, but this is not the day to do it. This is probably the week to be a little frustrated about it. But if you didn't have that frustration, you wouldn't push yourself for the changes that are coming up for you. So know that at least this thought is there, and these feelings are valid, because it's wanting to push you in a new direction. Okay. All right. Going over to Aries. Aries, you have the Lovers card. Okay. This is interesting, Aries. Aries, this is a nice card. It's the first major arcana card that we've had so far for any of the signs. The Lovers card is indicating that you're going to be revisiting something here. You're going to be weighing out a situation. Now, this isn't so much a day-to-day thing. This is more important important than that. Okay. So whenever we get the Lovers card, we know that you are probably making decisions that are going to be weighed after like coming back to a situation. Now, this could be like leaving a situation and coming back to it and weighing if it's good or not for you. This could be a person as well. This could be a relationship to where like maybe you had stopped with somebody, like maybe you had broken up with somebody and then they come back in your life. Now you have to like weigh out if you want to be with them or not. Okay. It's an important decision, but you've got to ask yourself some really important questions before we go into the retrograde. So Aries, you might be getting the shadow of the retrograde right now with people coming into your life or coming back into your world again. The thing that I want to ask you is this person good for you? Does this person serve you? Do you want to stay with this person? Is this person going to be having the same goals as you? I really think, the honeymoon when people get back together is nice. But what gets very confusing sometimes is it really something that you want to do? Because is there a future for it? Okay. So this is for the Aries. You have that Lovers card. And this means whether it's a person or something that you're doing that you're getting back into, you got to say, what does this have to do with my life? Is this in the best interest for me or not? Because it may seem great or it may seem like it's something to do, but having that card is saying it only will stay if it serves you for your highest interest. Okay. This is the decision you have to make. And it's a big one because it is that Lovers card. And whenever we get a major arcana, we know we have to make decisions on something that is possibly changing the way we deal with things. Okay. Going over to Taurus, we're still in your sign. Happy birthday, Taurus. You have the Hermit card. It was upside down. I'm putting it right side up so nobody gets dizzy. Okay. I think if you're going to look at it, you might as well look at it like right side up, right? Okay. So we do have another major arcana card, the Hermit card. Okay. Taurus, you do not like being alone. And this is saying that, you're trying to figure things out on your own by yourself. There's a maze in the head of my card. If you can see this, it's fine. If you can't, it's okay. But basically for Taurus, it means that you're going to be on your own and that you won't be able to like have anybody help you with situations that you're thinking about. Sometimes it's very difficult to be alone and to make these decisions. Even if you had somebody like a partner, you may feel very alone in these decisions that you're making. You're trying to figure out how to like piece things together and make things work for you. And it can be a very lonely road. But know that when you have that Hermit card, it's there for a reason. You're supposed to be on your own to figure these things out. We are born into this world alone, unless you're a twin, and we die alone. Okay. I mean, that's the reality of the situation is we only have ourselves. With all the other people that come in around us and are around us in life, we can still feel lonely sometimes. And so when you get this, Taurus, you're going to have that very uncomfortable feeling of feeling like you're on your own or alone, as opposed to having a partnership or union to figure something out. It's going to be uncomfortable for you, Taurus, because you do like having company. But this is important because of the fact that it is something for you to figure out and only you can figure out. It doesn't matter if you have a partnership or not. This is your journey. So this next week, you're going to be dealing with something that like is coming into your world and that like you're serious about like figuring it out, but nobody can really help you. It's your problem and your problem alone. And you may feel alone. Know that you're not alone, but know that this is something that happens with everybody and it's your turn to deal with it this way and to understand that sometimes we've got to figure things out on our own. And it may feel lonely, but you do have people around you, but you can do it. Okay, Taurus, I don't want you to give up. It can be very frustrating for you, but that need for companionship with a Taurus is strong. So feeling isolated is not a fun feeling for a Taurus. Just know that it's just your time to do it and know that it won't always be there. Okay, going over to Gemini. Gemini has a good card. Gemini has the Six of Swords. Now, if you've heard me speak before, you know that swords are all about action, right? And usually in the tarot, whenever you have action, you have something that is very obstacles. When you think of action, you think of struggle. This is the one card in the suit of the swords that is actually divine perfection. Like in this card, if I can hold it up for people to see, and if you're not looking at it, in this card is a maze, and in the maze there are two strings that are going through the maze differently, and they end up uniting at the end of the maze, even though they took different paths. Okay, that's the best way of putting it. So what does this mean for Gemini? This means that you may not know what you're doing, Gemini, next week. You may figure, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't have a clear sight on what I'm doing, but you're working your way through the maze to the end, and it's happening in divine perfection. The doors are opening for you, even though it's not a straight shot to what you want to be doing right now. These doors are opening for you. The right path is happening for you. It's all happening like in divine perfection. Okay, so do not be discouraged about the fact that you don't have a clear idea of where you're going. Understand that you're in that maze, but you're being shown the way to get through the maze. Basically, if you look for the signs and the clues, it's there. It means like, for example, if you're looking for a job and you don't know what job you're going to be getting or how you're going to be getting a job, and a job appears and you take that job and you're like, wow, this is great. I don't know why I'm taking this job, but I'm taking this job. That's the job you're supposed to have, because it's going to get you to the next place, even though you don't know how that's going to happen. You just have to live in faith at this point that this is the way it works for you. Okay, it's not a bad thing, especially for Gemini. You're an air sign, so faith is not really a problem for you. Just take the trip, okay, and realize that you may not know how you're going to end up someplace next week, but everything's happening in divine perfection, and just trust that this is the way it's supposed to happen. Okay, this is important for everybody. Let's take a look. We're going over to Cancer. Oh, Cancer. Okay, Cancer. Cancer, you have the 10 of Swords reversed. We have a lot of swords this week. I was looking. It's the majority of what we've got so far. So I'm going to turn it the right way up. Now, this 10 of Swords reversed is, okay. First of all, we're going to go back to that 10. 10 is the end of a cycle. Whenever we have a 10, we know that something is ending. Now, it looks all schizophrenic almost. They've got all this face all melted and all eyes looking at you and stuff, and it says rune on it, fear of madness. Okay, that at least this deck does. So what does this mean for Cancer? It means you've had probably a pretty bad couple weeks and you're just wondering when it's all going to end. Okay, what I'm here, the good news, the sunshine that I'm here to spread to you is that this is the last week that it's probably going to be so bad. It's going to get better for you. It just looks like nothing was really going your way, Cancer, and that you were dealing with stuff that you didn't want to be dealing with. But at the end of the day, this is actually going to be done soon, and you're going to be going on to a new chapter, a new page. Okay, so recognize that this is not it is bad, but it's not going to get any worse than this. You've had the worst. Okay, now we're going to get into better times, and you're going to see that things are going to get better for you. But just recognize that it may feel pretty cruddy this next week, and just know that this is the end of the cycle, and you'll be going into a new cycle soon. So this is not the time to start something, Cancer. This is the time to finish things and just let things be, and then in about a week or so you can pick up and it'll get better. But I can see that for Cancer, who takes everything to heart, this could be a rough week for you. Recognize that it gets better, but this is not the time to put yourself out there and test your luck. Not that week, but we're almost done with having a bad cycle for you. So it's going to get better, but it's saying it's the end. Okay, so this is good. Going over to Leo. Leo, where are you? This is the one I want for Leo. Okay, Leo, this is good for you, Leo. It looks like gain through friends here. We have the 9 of discs, okay? So this is good. This is talking about a sharing time with people that you care about, and reaping in the rewards of what you've been, dealing with. It's good times for you. As bad as it was for Cancer, it's good for Leo next week, is what it's looking like. You have people who are surrounding you that you care about and that you'll be spending some time with. This could mean having a gathering or hanging out with people that you really care about. Maybe it's family, but it's good times. You're reaping in the good times for you, and this is good for everybody, who is a Leo. This would be uniting with people that you care about and having a good time. So this is, I can't wish anything better for you guys, because that's a good card for you guys to have. Going over to Virgo. I know I got a few Virgos on the line today. Okay, Virgo, you have a Major Arcana card too. You have the Hierophant card. This is interesting. So when we get this card, Hierophant, if anybody wants to know what a Hierophant is like the wisdom, the counsel, shrink, somebody who has authority that like can tell you things, a wisdom person. In the old days, the Hierophant were the people that people would go to get advice from. Okay, so when you get the Hierophant card, it's telling you to pay attention to the wisdom that you're being given. So like it's like you're seeking counsel or getting counsel, okay, I should say, in your life that you need to pay attention to. So somebody's going to tell you something that could actually change your life, or you need to be listening to. So next week for you, Virgo, you're probably going to be having somebody who has influence on you telling you, something that you need to be listening to. And it could be a life-changing thing happening for you, Virgo. You just have to be able to hear the message. And I'm telling you to pay attention to the messages that you'll be getting next week, because there's some important wisdom coming your way, something that could sway you or change, maybe the directions that you're going, or, that's kind of what I'm feeling. Hierophant's always one of those tricky cards. I like it, but I find that, like, it depends on the sign, and it depends on what you're looking for, I guess, but what it means, because the Major Arcana card is to pay attention to who's giving you advice. It's sage advice. It's something that you could be listening to. You may be telling yourself, what do you mean, Lisa? But you could be having somebody who is coaching you in your business, or telling you like how to do something, or giving you advice on how to proceed with things. You need to listen to that person so that they can help you get through the next few months, because they've got some wisdom. A pope, is a Hierophant, a therapist, a doctor. I'm just trying to think of like what are the modern day Hierophants. They will show up in your life, but you're listening to a Hierophant when you know that you're paying attention, because they have some sort of authority, in a sense. Like there's like a teacher can be a Hierophant too. They're there to teach you something. Okay, so next week for you, Virgo, you've got somebody coming in to tell you something. Pay attention, listen, because it's important. It can change the way your outcome of like what you're doing or whatnot. I mean, it's very important to listen to them, because they've got some words of wisdom that they're trying to tell you, and it's an important time for you to be listening. So mouth shut, ears open is what I'd like to say to the Virgo, because Virgos like to sometimes, how do I explain this? They like to say their excuses and talk and whatnot, and say their problems, but instead of talking, you need to listen. Okay? Love you, Virgos. I'm not saying that meanly. As a Libra who talks way too much, I can say that. Okay. It's up to Libra now. Libra. Let's see what we got. Okay, thank God. So for my fellow Libras, you know why I said thank God, because the last few times I've been doing it, it's been all this serious stuff, and I've seen how this goes on, right? So this is the love card, the Two of Cups, Libra. This is good. This means that this next week coming up, it's all about self-care and care for other people. This is also love. This is two. So you may find your partnership or dealing with self-care or sharing with somebody else that you care about. Now, if you don't have a partner, which a lot of us don't, and a lot of us do, if you don't have a partner, it's about pampering yourself and taking care of yourself. If you have a partner and you're in a relationship, this is probably about connection and love and sharing good times. But for Libras, this is actually good because we've had some very serious ones the past few weeks that I've been doing this. So to see this one come up, this is smiles from me, because it means next week won't be as heavy as some of the past few weeks that we've been having. And the only reason I know this is because I'm a Libra, and so I'm keeping track of this too, going, okay. And it's definitely, I don't know about you, but it's definitely like been spot on for me, unfortunately. When we hit that heavy stuff, I've definitely been dealing with the heavy stuff. I just told you about the heavy stuff in the beginning of this, right? Okay, so Scorpio. So Libra, it's going to be good for you next week. Just hang tight. Take care of yourself. Be nice, okay? Scorpio. So Scorpio, let's go over to you. Scorpio, we've got the Ace of Swords. Nice, Scorpio. This is new action, okay? So what does this mean for Scorpio? Scorpio, you have new beginnings here, new actions. Aces are always the beginning. Whenever we have the beginning of something, we know that there's going to be new action and like new direction going and taking a turn. So for all my Scorpios out there, it's interesting because I got to stop for a little bit, because I have a lot of Scorpio clients, right? And recently, a lot of people have been passed over for promotions. It hasn't been going so great for Scorpio. They've had a lot of obstacles and stuff not working for them. And then all of a sudden, we get this Ace of Swords. Then we know, even though it's been kind of like not so great for you all, now we have new action and something there's fresh that's coming in for you. So for all of like the stuttering, I guess is what I want to say for the Scorpios, the things not working out, for all the things that haven't been working out, now you're going to see it's going to start moving forward. I know we're going into a retrograde, but at the same time, this is before the retrograde. This is the week before the retrograde. There are some new beginnings here. So take advantage of these new beginnings that you're having and recognize the fact that we are having new action for you, and you may be switching your job, you may be starting a job, you may be starting new action in some other way, but this action is good because it's got a lot of energy behind it, and you should find yourself doing new things for yourself, okay? This is a good thing. And last but not least, let's get to Sagittarius. I know, Saggies. I'm trying. Sagittarius, you have the Six of Cups. Okay, Saggy, let's talk about this. This is focus on family and loved ones and people you care about. Next week, you'll probably be spending time figuring out how to spend time with these people. It says the pleasure card, but the focus is on all these things that are really important to you that you love. It's not always pleasure, but it's definitely showing that you want to have like time with people that you care about. I feel I feel strong with the Sagittarius. You're going to be focusing on family is basically what this is. So this next week, pay attention to your family. I think if there's one thing I've learned from this whole experience in the past 2 weeks is, you never know what can happen in the next minute. And it's really important to value that time that you do have with those you care about, those you love, because you never know when you're going to have another time like that again. I mean, it could be taken away at any moment. You just never know what the next page is. I'm being so dramatic, but you never know what the next page is going to hold, So when you have that family time, put your phones down. Make sure that everybody has some eye contact. I think one of the things that drives me nuts these days, and hey, look, my phone is right here. So I am not above saying that I do it too, but it really, like, if you go and look in a restaurant or you watch people, like, the trend these days is everybody's on their own phone. Like, there'll be 4 people sitting at a table and they'll all be looking at their phones instead of connecting with each other and talking to each other. And if this is you and your family, one of the things I could say is, perhaps, have everybody put their phone down, face down for dinner time, and make sure that everybody connects. Spend some time with each other. It's the most crazy thing where the interaction with kids. I've seen kids lately. They all hang out together. They all sit on the couch together, not talk, but all look at their own phones and do their own thing. This is a phenomenon that's been happening with our digital world. As connected as we can be by talking and like doing the streaming, and this is really cool, and maybe you're watching it on your phone. I don't know, maybe you're listening to it over the radio, but as connected as we can be so disconnected to the person right next to us. We have to be very careful of that and cognizant of the fact that there is a time and a place for us to have our apparatus, like to have our phones and to be entertained. But when we actually have people next to us and like our family and have time, there needs to be a time and space to shut that stuff off and like actually connect, because connecting is about like the people that you're with in the same room, not just over the phone. I mean, there's got to be some boundaries put up, and we really don't have them. The society that we are living in right now, this phone invades everything. When it rings, we pick it up. When we want to see something, we look it up. But we're so connected to it. And I think you've probably heard me bitch about this before. I'm going to bitch about it again. We're so connected to this. We're tethered to our phones. We're tethered to technology that sometimes we forget what's right around us. We have to take our heads out of our phones, and look around us. Pay attention to the people who are around us. Pay attention to the beauty around us. If you go outside, take a breath of fresh air. I know this is like kind of counterproductive to like what I'm talking about right now and what I'm doing, but I want us all to live life and not just live off of our phones and connect that way, because sometimes, and I mean, it happens. I know it happens. Sometimes we get so caught up in what's going on like our screens that we don't pay attention to what's right going on like at our table or around us or with our kids or whatnot. I mean, as an adult, I am just nicely asking my peers, those of you who are listening, to recognize the fact that, people are right in front of you. Pay attention to the people who are there and make space and make time for that, because you're not going to get that time back. And what I'm noticing, I did a lot of traveling this past 2 weeks, saw a lot of people all across the country. I mean, that 12-hour trip showed me, 12 hours of middle America here. And it was, like I said, it was surreal. They may not have been wearing masks, but they were definitely still on their phones. And I think if I were an alien coming to, landing here, I'd be wondering, what is this thing that people are always looking at? I mean, it really is taking over. And I do think we need to be careful of it. And as adults and as parents, maybe we want to like set some boundaries around that. If anybody has any stories about like what they do, I'd love to hear it. But I'm serious. This is something that America, we have a big problem with this. I mean, I think most countries probably do, but I think the world is having problems with this right now, just because technology is great, but we're missing out on the people who are right here, and that shouldn't be happening if possible. Let me see. Let me take a look. I'm trying to go through the different channels here to see what's going on here. Let's see. I'm looking to see if there's anybody who is... Okay, there's 13 comments. Let me just take a look at something. Catherine, thank you so much. She said, so sorry to hear all that you've been through. Attaching heart hugs. Thank you. Catherine, from what I remember, you were going to be going to New York, or you took a trip. Did you not take a trip to New York to see your guy? I'm wondering how that happened. I mean, well, if that was a good thing, I don't know. So let's take a look. Catherine, you're telling me that you're the 10-12 and he is 8-14. So he's a Leo and you're a Libra. Let's take a look at this. Oh, Elizabeth, I see what you're saying. Hold on. Let's see. So Catherine, let me go here with you. The relationship looks okay, Catherine. It looks like there's been there's been some starts and stops with this. It looks like it's had some rough patches here. It's going to get better for you. You're the Empress. You're the one that has to make, you have the Empress here, but you have the oppression and the Ace of Swords upside down. So basically this is telling me that, probably the distance is getting to you now. I'm wondering how your vacation was and how that went. I think that this is a good thing. I think that looking at this, you were trying hard to make it work for you, but now you're probably back and you're feeling probably oppressed about the fact that the trip was like a little bumpy. Maybe the distance is getting to the two of you, but you have the Empress card here, so you can make it work. I wouldn't make any hasty decisions on moving or anything like that. I think you're out in California. You need to stay there for the time being. But the relationship looks like it's going to prevail. It just looks like you're going to have to take a look at it a little bit later to make a judgment call on this. It's not the right time to do that. I'm hoping that you're vacation went well. It looks like it was pretty good, but I'm seeing that the distance is an issue now, so I'm curious about that. So there's my check-in for you for your relationship. Let's take a look at this. Yes, thank you, Tiffany, about your prayers and condolences. Yeah, we definitely need it. And yeah, it's rough when you lose somebody, especially to COVID. Elizabeth says that my friend lost her mother last week. The mom is in India. She's here. Thought she was getting better. You just never know with this stuff. You never know what's going on with the COVID. I mean, they can rally and then go and tank really quickly is what I've seen a few times now. And, you know, it's a really sad situation. Hi, Coeli. It's good to hear from you. It's good to see everybody who I haven't seen in a while. This is feeling really good. The next couple weeks, I'm going to just try to make sure that like I have something interesting to say. I'm just glad that you guys are back with me now, you know, because I know that it's difficult sometimes to have a show and get it all prepared and whatnot. And this was more like checking in, doing lease scope this week and making sure that you all knew what was coming up for you guys for next week. Because, you know, I mean, what else am I going to do? I was looking at trying to be as effective as possible. Shelly, hello. I mean, I'm seeing everybody. Hello, Champagne. Hello, Shelly. Hello, Wendy. Hello, Tiffany. Hello, Ismail. I mean, I'm seeing you all, and it's great to see you guys saying hi and nodding to me. But honestly, it's been such a crazy 2 weeks. I'm just happy that I got on the air. Next week we'll do something a little bit probably different. I mean, I'll still be doing my Lisa scopes, I think, but I'll have a topic that we can all talk about. I'm just glad that you were able to be with me today here on Sounds Like Lisa. For those of you listening into Sounds Like Lisa on 12radio.com, thank you. I know it's been a long show, but I did get through the scopes, and I'm wishing everybody well. I'm going to check out now because I got a lot to do, but it's good to see everybody again. Next week I'll be here same time, same place. If you need to find me, I will be online again. I know I took a little hiatus there. Didn't know what was going to happen, but I'm coming back, guys, and I wish everybody to stay safe. Keep safe, keep practicing your social distance, wear your mask, get your vaccination. You know, I'll be getting mine, I guess, soon too, because I realize I can't tell you to get a vaccination if I'm not going to get a vaccination, right? But just stay safe, because we still have yet to get rid of this nasty COVID, and things are changing. Things are getting better. But let's be real, it's still a very real threat out there. So you all, love and light to you guys. Make good choices, and I will be back next week to talk to you here on Sounds Like Lisa. Thanks again for listening in, and I will see you soon. Be well, guys. Have a great day. Bye-bye.